Hello, everybody, and welcome to this month's staff meeting. I'm Alexis Anderson, and the disease this month we're going to discuss is smallpox. Smallpox is caused by the variola virus. It is a double-stranded DNA, and it comes from the orthopox virus genus. It has two major subgroups, variola major and variola minor. But for us, what's most important is the fact that it can live outside of a host and maintain its activity, meaning that if it's on a surface, the droplets from the person's on the surface, we can get smallpox from it. But for us on the good side, smallpox was eradicated, naturally occurring smallpox, in 1980 due to an immunization campaigns all throughout the world. But if smallpox were to break out, who would be most susceptible? Depending on the age and the profession of a person will depend on if they are vaccinated or not. Those that tend to be of an older generation are vaccinated probably up until the early 2000s. Those after that, because it is eradicated, we have chosen to stop vaccinating for it. So if a outbreak were to occur, we would start vaccinating people, but those people like pregnant women and people who are immune compromised that necessarily can't get a vaccine at the time would be more susceptible than the normal population. But for our county, specifically here in Utah, we have a high number of people that don't believe in vaccinating their children or vaccinating themselves. So these families and these children will be our most susceptible population and most at risk if there were an outbreak of smallpox. So smallpox is passed person to person through bodily fluid droplets. The incubation period is anywhere from 10 to 14 days after exposure. If the person feels fine during the incubation period, has no symptoms, then they are not considered contagious. They become contagious when they start to have a fever, which is typically 101 to 104, and rashes and lesions start to occur. Those typically start in the mouth and then move all over the rest of the body. They are still considered contagious until the last smallpox scab has fallen off, and that can last on average up to about 14 days. So if a person were to come in with rashes, lesions, and a high fever, we would test for smallpox. Typically, this is done at a hospital, but if there's an indication of a positive smallpox test, the test should then be sent to a CDC laboratory response network lab just to verify if it's smallpox or not, and they're prepared to handle it from there. So if smallpox is eradicated, why are we discussing this? Why are we talking about this in our small community? Well, while there's no immediate threat of smallpox, we do live close to Salt Lake City, which is a highly populated area. And so there is always a small threat of bioterrorism. We've seen throughout history how deadly smallpox truly can be. And so as viruses start to become weaponized, and that may possibly be something we have to deal with, then we need to learn how to protect ourselves and our communities for an outbreak if that were to happen. So to protect ourselves and our communities, the first thing we would do is recommend that everybody that can be vaccinated immediately. People are protected if they're vaccinated before exposure or up until 7 days post-exposure, as long as a rash has not developed. As for room surfaces and stuff like that, there's no really known disinfectant that can kill the variola virus, but it is recommended to use EPA-registered disinfectants that have been approved for a similar virus called the vaccina virus. As a public health person, if you do have to come in contact with somebody with smallpox, we do suggest that you wear personal protective equipment such as masks, gloves, gowns, and face shields just to protect yourself as much as possible. Overall, though, the best practice is to vaccinate everybody within the community, as well as isolate those that do get sick. Hopefully, we will never have to use this knowledge and stuff like that, but we do hope that we can be prepared if it were to happen. Thank you and have a good rest of your day.